being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like and subscribe. Um, we're going to get into a few different topics on what's being talked about. Trump is trending not only for what he's been saying, but he's also trending for, will he pardon Diddy? Is he serious about it? Um, so allow me a moment to get into my screen, do what I need to do on my side. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yesterday was an interesting day. Then I got kicked out, so then I had to, of course, come back. So hopefully that won't happen again today, but we're going to get into a few different things. So just give me a second. Let me get into what I need to get into. Oh, wait, but good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. Like the video. Subscribe to the page. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. I hope everyone's having a great morning. It normally takes a minute for everyone to come in. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. We're going to get to some hot topics about Donald Trump, about Diddy. Just give me a few minutes. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here, everyone. Like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. As you know, the police team has put together a bail package, and he's of course trying to get out again. So we're going to get to that first, then we'll probably talk Donald Trump. But please like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. I hope everyone's having a great morning. I hope everyone's having a great morning. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Let's see.
Now to the Diddy Combs case. We may learn this week if he will be released on bond while he awaits sentencing. His lawyers filed a request asking the judge to release Combs on $50 million bond. Combs was convicted earlier this month on charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, and he was acquitted of more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The government is expected to respond by this Thursday. Combs' sentencing is scheduled for October.
So if they make a decision, that's something I didn't know. If they make a decision, they're going to make the decision by this Thursday. So that's good to know, because I don't think a lot of people knew that. Let me see. Hold on one second. Like the videos, you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in. Okay, yeah. Just give me a second. Still setting up on my side. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Like, comment, and share. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 you've been here before and where you're watching from.
Shouldn't be locked up for his swinger lifestyle, highlighting the atrocious conditions at the MDC to addressing allegations.
Hold on one second.
And I will tell you what. We did an interview a few weeks back that kind of previewed why and how Combs could be released. It was a bail bondsman that is apparently working with Diddy's team behind the scenes. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But what I want to talk about right now is this latest letter from the defense to the judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramanian. Remember, this comes after a jury of Combs' peers found him not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, not guilty of 2 counts of sex trafficking, but they did convict him of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He's set to be sentenced on October 3rd. Technically, he could face up to 10 years in prison on each charge. Highly unlikely. Think maybe you might be looking at somewhere to 2 to 5 years potentially, but he could also get time served and be released, although that also seems unlikely. I'll talk about that a little bit later too. But initially, after the verdict, right after the verdict, his defense team petitioned the court that he should be released. He was just acquitted of some very serious charges. The judge denied it. The judge denied Combs bail once again. And remember, this comes after he was rejected bail multiple times since he was arrested back in September of 2024, highlighting the severity of the charges, the violence, and so forth. But now, this is different. Now, what is the defense arguing? I'm going to go over all this in the new letter. I'm going to give my take at the end about whether or not it's going to be successful and whether or not he will actually be released before sentencing in October. So, the defense begins by arguing that Sean Combs should be released in advance of sentencing, and the court has the power to do this. They have the authority, among other things, because you can clearly show, quote, that there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. So, what are those exceptions? What are those reasons? What are those circumstances that are exceptional? They highlight several things that we're going to get into. That the charges he was convicted of, we're going to call them the Mann Act violations, that's what it's called under the law. They're not as severe, they're not as egregious as other convictions in other cases. That the sheer fact that he's locked up at the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, for the past 11 months, that in and of itself is a reason for
Like the videos, you guys come in. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for being here, everyone.
him to be released. These are all exceptional circumstances, and I'm going to get into all the arguments. But first, they highlight the standard, and they argue that to be released under federal law, you need to show two conditions. First, the district court must find by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released. Second, it must be clearly shown that there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. Now, clear and convincing evidence is a lower standard. By the way, it's not like beyond a reasonable doubt. Anyway, basically, you have to show he's not a flight risk, he's not a danger, and you have to show there are particular, exceptional, unique reasons for why detaining Combs is wrong. We're going to start with the exceptional reasons justifying his release. And they begin by trying to define, well, what exactly is exceptional circumstances? What does that mean? And they argue that case law suggests the court has a lot of discretion to determine whether a particular set of circumstances qualifies as exceptions. And they say, look, Sean Combs, his case, so different from other ones. There has never been, according to them, a Mann Act prosecution like this one before. And this is how they lay it out. Quote, there has literally never been a case like this one, where a person and his girlfriend arranged for adult men to have consensual sexual relations with the adult long-term girlfriend as part of a demonstrated swingers lifestyle and has been prosecuted and incarcerated under the Mann Act. Combs and two of his longtime girlfriends had a private, intimate life that is not uncommon today. They're talking about Jane and Cassie Ventura. Quote, it may not have been common on June 25th, 1910, when the Mann Act, or as it was originally called, the White Slave Traffic Act, was passed, but attitudes about sex and morality have come a long way in the last 115 years. It's worth noting that when the Mann Act was passed protecting morals and decency of America's women were not allowed to vote. As noted below, perhaps due to the troubling background of this statute, whose history is rich with both racism and misogyny, the Department of Justice has limited its application to those people profiting financially from the business of prostitution and not using it to prosecute consensual adults for their own lifestyles. By the way, we covered this on a previous sidebar. The defense made an argument months ago to have these charges thrown out, called it basically racially motivated, that it was strange that it was being used against a successful black man. That argument didn't work. He was ultimately prosecuted and he was convicted on those charges. Hey, everybody, real quick, this is another law and crime legal alert. You know that
Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in. Fair use reaction clip.
It's Mr. Combs that they call Paul. Jane explained that she told Combs she, quote, missed Paul. When asked why she said that, she responded, because I did. This was a lifestyle, one that both Miss Ventura and Jane chose, one they all, as grown adults, had a right to choose. Like many aspects of sex and intimacy, it was not without its complications, its bouts of jealousy, and at times, its frustrations. But that is a hallmark of any serious romantic relationship, and that is what these were, serious, long-term romantic relationships. By the way, they're really focusing on this because, again, he was acquitted of sex trafficking. They highlight how the jury didn't find sex trafficking of Jane or Cassie, that it didn't occur. There was no force, fraud, or coercion that was used to...
That's a good way to say it. Birds of a feather. Huh.
Induce these women to engage in commercial sex acts. For transportation to engage in prostitution, what he was convicted of, the prosecution didn't have to prove that violence was used or that or threats were used. It was just, did you transport these women and men for the purposes of sex work, commercial sex acts? And obviously.
So did the jury do a good job? Do you think he'll pardon him? Do you think he'll get bail? So there's a lot going on with Diddy. A lot. And there's a lot going on with Mrs. Maxwell. And there's a lot going on in regards to Trump. So it's all a lot of distraction stuff when you think about it. And then what does that tell Hollywood if he pardons him? Fair use reaction clip.
The jury convicted him of that. And they highlight all the jury found was that there was prostitution, payment of porn stars and escorts. And they highlight that he is a swinger, or under the Mann Act, a John. And they argue he doesn't deserve to be locked up for this. Quote, Sean Combs should not be in jail for this conduct. In fact, He may be the only person currently in a United States jail for being any sort of John, and certainly the only person in jail for hiring adult male escorts for him and his girlfriend when he did not even have sex with the escort himself. Over the last 75 years, the White Slave Traffic Act has been limited to defendants who cause interstate travel for financial gain through the business of prostitution. That Sean Combs remains in jail for being...
Are you guys surprised that the jury haven't spoke out more? Do you think that the jury will speak out after his sentencing? Are you guys surprised these jurors haven't really spoke out? Let's continue. Fair use, ration clip.
Convicted of being a customer of consensual adult sex services makes this case truly exceptional. Not only is prosecuting the users of adult prostitution services inconsistent with the Mann Act, it's inconsistent with the prosecution policies of the district attorneys of Manhattan and the city attorney of Los Angeles, California, two of the three locations where this prostitution allegedly took place. In addition, Mr. Combs is incarcerated while everyone else involved in this identical conduct, his girlfriends, the cowboys, the agency leaders, the porn stars, and others, walk free, as they should. If there was ever a fact pattern that was exceptional under the Mann Act, it is this one. And then they move on to another argument, that the Department of Justice, the DOJ, has usually only charged Mann Act violations when there's financial gain. And they even cite a number of cases in the Southern District of New York, where Combs was prosecuted, that apparently involved defendants that set up a prostitution business for profit. Again, trying to distinguish between Combs' conduct and these cases. He never did any of this for profit, they argued. And they even cite the 1953 U.S. Attorney's Manual that says, quote, as a general rule, prosecution should not be instituted in the so-called non-commercial cases. And they claim the Department of Justice Manual today, quote, makes clear that the prosecution of customers involved in an 18 U.S.C. 2421 offense, like Mr. Combs here, is now limited to prosecuting those who engage in commercial sex with victims of sex trafficking, in addition to those who otherwise perpetrate or facilitate human trafficking offenses. And in the absence of any sex trafficking charge, however, it is clear that the standalone Mann Act counts never would have been prosecuted. That seems true. I think you ask any legal expert, they will say if all the government had against Sean Combs was the transportation to engage in prostitution charges, just the prostitution charges, they probably wouldn't have gone after him. They coupled it with racketeering and they coupled it with sex trafficking. I agree with that. I don't think that they would have gone after him just for that. Anyway, the defense highlights how modern day prosecutions of Johns is really when you're talking about exploiting vulnerable foreigners who don't speak English well, which again is not the case here. And they highlight how the only potentially comparable case in New York is where you had a retired police officer and a former judge who apparently hired women to have sex with a male fraternal group called the Jesters. But Combs' attorneys say, while there was no profit there, there's no profit here, there was sex trafficking of those prostitutes. That's what's different. Again, Combs was acquitted of sex trafficking in this case. And here's the main point, quote, moreover, the cases which involve defendants similarly situated to Mr. Combs have been released on bond pending sentencing. In reviewing the cases across the country where the primary or sole conviction was for a violation of 18 U.S.C. 2421, the defendants who were not charged with running a prostitution business have been released pending sentencing.
Please hit the like button, you guys. We got 2 likes and 87 people in the building. Can you please double tap the screen and thank you. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. Please double tap the screen. Let's get the likes to 50. Thank you. Let's get the likes to 50.
Why Combs'
Thank
convictions
you.
are exceptional. And it's about him being locked up at the MDC. They say that a district court judge in the Southern District in another case basically said how bad the MDC is. As Judge Furman noted, the state of affairs at MDC is unacceptable. In so noting, Judge Furman concluded that the conditions in the MDC qualify as exceptional reasons under the statute, justifying, and this was the defendant in this case, Chavez's continuing release. Judge Furman found that the conditions at the MDC are, quote, dreadful in many respects, but 3 warrant particular emphasis. 1, continued reports of inordinate periods of lockdown. 2, claims that the facility provides inadequate and or substantially delayed necessary medical care, a particular risk in this case. And 3, general issues about the conditions at the facility. These conditions have not abated in Mr. Combs' detention at the facility. As the court is aware, during Mr. Combs' incarceration at the MDC, the facility was subject to an interagency suite that was designed to achieve our shared goal of maintaining a safe environment for both our employees and the incarcerated individuals housed at MDC Brooklyn. They're actually quoting what the rationale was. In other words, there is a significant issue at the MDC related to the safety of employees and incarcerated individuals that require outside law enforcement action from multiple agencies to address. Importantly, MDC, as a jail, has a significant law enforcement presence within its walls 24 hours per day that are equipped with investigatory and often unregulated authority. Thus, the requirement of outside law enforcement agencies to ensure safety within the MDC is an admission that serious violence, mayhem, and chaos is occurring within the MDC that requires more than a Band-Aid raid, but rather surgery. Indeed, we are aware of ongoing threats of violence and actual violence in the facility, such that Mr. Combs' safety is constantly at risk. And they go on to argue, though Mr. Combs has been a model inmate for his nearly year-long period of confinement, the violent conditions are still very much a concern for Mr. Combs and is an unnecessary confinement risk given the clear precedent of multiple similarly situated Mann Act convictions where defendants were released on conditions. Now, the government, by the way, would probably disagree with that statement of him being a model inmate. Remember when they accused Combs of trying to arrange?
Please like the video. Please like the video. We got, let's see, 92 people in the building. Please double tap the screen to hit the like. We got 117 in the building. Can I please get 50 people to double tap that screen or hit the like above the video, below the video? Please double tap the screen or hit above the video or below the video to hit the like. Thank you.
Three-way phone calls and buying the use of other inmates' phone privileges to try to make sure the government wasn't listening.
Thank you.
That he was having these private conversations, that he was allegedly trying to contact witnesses in the case, that he allegedly orchestrated a birthday campaign to help his public image while he was locked up. So if we hear a government response, I'm sure they're going to say something about that. Then the defense highlights he's not a risk of flight, he's not a danger to the community, which, by the way, I think are real key points here. But they seem to echo a lot of the same arguments that they've already stated to the court. And remember, they haven't been successful in the past. That he voluntarily came to New York last year to surrender himself to authorities, that he gave up his passport to his attorneys 6 months before his arrest, paid off his mortgage on his Miami home so it was free while out on bond. He was just acquitted of the most serious charges that he was facing, which, by the way, carried decades, if not life in prison, that he's not a risk of flight. That's the basic argument. Now, when it comes to the danger argument, that is key. Why? Judge Subramanian had said after the verdict that the reason he was denying bail was because of Combs' violence, that his own attorneys admitted he was violent during the course of the trial. Well, here's what Combs' defense attorneys argue about that. Quote, the court noted that the defense history of domestic violence as to Miss Ventura and that he struck Jane twice in June 2024. However, we strenuously object that Mr. Combs poses a danger to the community, aside from a single instance on June 18, 2024, where Mr. Combs was provoked by Jane through her own acts of violence. There was no evidence of any acts of violence in the last 7 years. Indeed, the jury notably rejected the government's argument that the June 2024 incident constituted coercion when it acquitted Mr. Combs of the sex trafficking charge. Also, prior to his arrest in this case, Mr. Combs enrolled in the domestic violence program in which he participated until he was arrested and incarcerated in connection with this case. If released on conditions, Sean Combs will not be violent to anyone. As we said in court, this jury gave him his life back. He will not squander his second chance at life, nor would he do anything to further jeopardize his 7 children not having a father and 4 of his children not having a parent at all. The court can fashion any set of conditions, and Mr. Combs will abide by any condition to make the court comfortable that Mr. Combs will not be violent toward any person. And that is when they propose the following bail package. That Combs will sign a $50 million bond secured by...
So now we're about to hear the bail package. Please like the video. Please like the video. There's about 117 in the building. If I can please get 117 to please subscribe and thank you. And also please hit the like. Let's get the likes to 100. Please double tap that screen and thank you. The like should match the views. The like should match the views. Please double tap the screen. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. Please double tap the screen to hit the like. YouTube makes it extremely easy. Or hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Get the likes up, you guys, so we can continue. Double tap the screen, please, to get the likes up. Double tap the screen, please, to get the likes up. And thank you. We're at 9 likes. We should be at 100. Thank you. Double tap the screen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
His home in Miami, that the bond will be co-signed by 3 financially responsible people.
First off, we have quotas that we have to meet for our pages. So if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. My page is growing. We get 1 million views per month. So I'll be okay if you're not here. Anyway, have a good day, Tony.
That Combs will reside in his home in Miami, that his travel will be limited to the Southern District of Florida, the Southern District of New York for attorney meetings, as well as airports that are necessary to travel between the two, that he will be placed under the express supervision of the U.S. Pretrial Services Agency, that he will report to that agency as directed, that his passport will be surrendered to pretrial services, that he shall not apply for any other passport.
Good morning.
And they even highlight
Good
that
morning.
The court can add other conditions too. Home detention, private security approved by the court, mental health treatment. He'll agree to it all. Now, let me tell you, we kind of previewed that this all would happen, this argument would happen, this new bail package would be presented when we spoke a few weeks ago to renowned bail bondsman, to the celebrities, by the way, to the stars, Ira Judelson, who apparently had been working with Combs' team behind the scenes on working to secure his release. Here's what he said about a new package.
We did talk about this Bill Bosman talking about Diddy about, I want to say about 3 weeks ago. So he's about to repeat what he has helped or assist in. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
After the verdict.
When Mark reached out to me afterwards, we started thinking about putting another bail package together.
And what is that bail package that's, and by the way, is this a bail package that you think could be submitted again even after the judge just denied bail?
Well, the judge denied bail based on the statute. Stated a certain amount of information that part of the Mann Act that was not eligible for bail. There are certain circumstances that can be done. We're going to regroup again. I know that they were going to go talk to Mr. Combs again and see what happens there. They have the October 3rd date. And I don't know where he stood. As of the other day, he wanted to get out. I don't think anybody wants to be at NBC where he is. We're going to reconvene and see what happens, at a later date. We could go back with another package.
Okay, so with all that in mind, and again, at the time of this recording, I don't see the government's response to this, but here's my take. Now, Combs is obviously in a better position to argue for release now than he was in the past. I thought that after his acquittal, this change in circumstances, that he could be released. The Mann Act convictions alone, given the facts presented in court, I think the defense made a compelling argument that he should be released, not facing as serious charges that would have justified, a concern of a risk of flight. He's no longer charged with the violence of racketeering and sex trafficking. But remember, the judge was very persuaded by the violence aspect that was a part of this case. The judge has latitude, discretion here when it comes to bail and bail.
Are you guys surprised about the racketeering? Because what was found in his home, what was found in the hotel when he got arrested, are you guys surprised? There's about 176 in the building. Please subscribe and please continue to hit the like button. Thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
And he received letters immediately after the verdict opposing bail. And I think a lot of the defense's arguments are compelling, particularly citing case law about other people who were released. But the judge could be persuaded that these were multiple violations of the Mann Act with respect to both Jane and Cassie. These weren't isolated incidents. Multiple men, multiple payments, multiple dates, multiple transportation, the violence, the drugs, those factors in the case may not necessarily have to be separated from the bail analysis, despite the fact that they weren't really required elements of the charges that he was convicted of. And
there's about 177 in the building. Can I please have you guys hit the like button and the subscribe button? We're trying to hit 50K next month. Please subscribe. We've only had about 10 subscribed this morning. We had almost 300 this week. So please subscribe and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
You can make the argument, sure, he was acquitted of sex trafficking of Jane and Cassie. The jury might say he didn't use force, fraud, or coercion to induce them into commercial sex acts, but violence still may have occurred. The judge might be persuaded by that. And I don't think at this point, my personal opinion, I don't see the judge changing his tune. I don't see him being persuaded by these arguments. But look, for Sean Combs, obviously he wants some sort of release from jail before sentencing, because while the judge could technically sentence him to time served or 20 years, both seem highly unlikely, it seems that he would be sentenced to some additional time in prison. And obviously Sean Combs wants some time out of prison, some time out of detention before he's ultimately sentenced. Now, we'll see what the judge does. I could be wrong.
We'll see what the judge does. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. What do you think will happen? Do you think that he'll get a pardon? Like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in.
The judge to release Combs on 50... Now to the Sean Diddy Combs case. We may learn this week if he will be released on bond while he awaits sentencing. His lawyers filed a request asking the judge to release Combs on $50 million bond. Combs was convicted earlier this month on charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, and he was acquitted of more serious charges of sex.
No, there's a lot of pages that's talking about, will he pardon him? Somebody has said you guys are seeing stuff. There's so many pages that's talking about whether he's going to pardon him or not. There's tons of pages that's talking about it. We're not just reading one thing. There's another one above that. So people are talking about it. That's where we're talking about it. Will he do it as a distraction in regards to the Epstein list? Fair use reaction clip. And then, like I said, he requested bail again.
sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The government is expected to respond by this Thursday. Combs was convicted earlier this month on charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. He was acquitted of more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The government is expected to respond by this Thursday. Combs' sentencing is scheduled for October.
Yeah, his sentencing is scheduled for October. So everybody was talking about the bail package as well. Hold on one second. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in.
Help people
Like the
customize
video as
and
you
save
guys come in. And subscribe. Let's get the likes up. There's about 167 in the building. The likes should match the views. Continue to hit the like button. Just double tap the screen. If you're watching from a phone, press 1, please. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. All it takes is to double tap the screen to hit the like. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Was blowing.
We'll tell you who soon. Diddy wants out of jail. He says he's non-violent. He wants to be out on bail.
Yep, unclear if that's going to be granted, but we'll see.
Deion Sanders, he's also potentially in a very interesting new relationship.
And there's a connection to Chris Brown.
Yes, crazy. And we might touch on the Beckham family drama there at the end if we've got time.
Always back in family drama. New week, new drama.
We'll remind you we're
live. So,
amicable.
it was giving like friend vibes. Yeah, but at one point, you can kind of see in the video this bodyguard near.
Hold on. Let's see. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in. Hold on one second. Some odd reason. Like the video as you guys come in. Will he get bail? Will Trump give him a pardon? What's really going to happen? Let's go to the Trump news. Like the videos you guys come in.
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women? Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of...
Hold on one second.
I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women? Were some of them young women?
well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were. Yes. Yeah. In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want them taking people.
So, Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women? Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were. Yeah. In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I I don't want him taking people. So, Epstein. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever. And he was fine.
So that's the young lady that they're talking about. They're stating that she's no longer with us. The one right here, they're stating she's no longer with us. This person and that person is the same person.
He was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so.
He thinks she worked at the spa.
He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever. And he was fine, and then not too long.
So that's the concern. At what age was she?
Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women?
In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him.
Hired by him.
God. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa.
You guys, there's about 382 in the building. Can you guys please subscribe to the page? We're trying to hit 50K by next month. And can I please get 100 people to double tap that screen to hit the like button? The likes should match the views. Let's get the likes up, everyone. Please double tap the screen to get the likes up. I'm bringing y'all some TTT. Please double tap that screen to get the likes up.
Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women? Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women?
In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, God. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want them taking people. So,
Next clip.
Epstein.
And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons. That includes Virginia Jeffrey.
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Next
And
clip.
he was fine.
That's them together.
And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever. And he was fine.
So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
People that work for me is bad, but that story's been pretty well out there, and the answer is yes. They were. Yeah, in the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago, and people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, God. And other people would come and complain. This guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them. I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here. Mr. President.
So do you think he regrets saying that? Because now people are wondering, how old was she? She was taken, and this was the one young lady that had concerns with Epstein. So let's continue fair use reaction clip.
One of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa.
He thinks so.
I think so. I think that was one of the people. He stole her.
Okay, I want to be clear about what we just heard. That was Donald Trump admitting that Virginia Guffrey, who
Like the video, like the video. There's about 268 in the building. If I can please get 200 people to hit the subscribe button. Continue to hit the like, you guys. The like should be at 100. 100 people, please double tap the screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. And thank you. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Let's get the likes up.
was ultimately abused and trafficked by as a minor, worked for Trump initially, which means that if she was still a minor when she was poached by Epstein, then she was also a minor when she worked for Trump.
See?
So Donald Trump was employing underage girls to work for him and expose those minors to someone
Allegedly.
like Jeffrey Epstein, who had the ability to steal those girls and then rape, abuse, and traffic them.
Dot.
I know my job here is to talk, but I'm honestly kind of speechless. And by the way, let's not pretend that Donald Trump didn't know who Epstein was. Remember the famous 2002 in New York Magazine? I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. Trump booms from his speakerphone. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Concerning.
No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. That quote was from 2002. Epstein first trafficked Virginia Guffrey in 2001. If you want to tell me that Trump wasn't well aware of what Epstein was doing when he, quote, stole Guffrey from him, you are kidding yourself. Or how about this moment from his answer?
In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, God.
No moment too sacrosanct for a Trump-branded commercial, am I right? This guy is admitting that he exposed a minor who worked in his spa to a pedophile who poached her and then abused and trafficked her, and Trump takes the opportunity to hawk his properties? One of the best spas in the world is Mar-a-Lago. Look, I'm no marketing genius like Donald J. Trump, but if I just so happened to own a spa, I would probably want to avoid mentioning said spa in the same sentence as I am discussing the fact that a notorious pedophile found one of his victims in it. Unless, of course, I'm fundamentally misunderstanding the clientele that Donald Trump is trying to attract. There are so many insane and disgusting red flags here. Why was Trump employing underage girls?
So many concerns. Like the video, like the video. There's about 217 in the building. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Let's continue fair use reaction clip. Let's continue to get the likes up. Double tap the screen. Double tap the screen.
Why did he have them working in the spa, where clearly they would be exposed to adults like Jeffrey Epstein? If he knew that someone like Epstein had an affinity for young girls, why would he allow him near minors like Guffrey? What does it say about Trump and his behavior that he associated with Jeffrey Epstein, whose habits were so well known that Trump literally spoke about them to New York Magazine with a wink and a nod? Is it starting to make sense now why Donald Trump was so hell-bent on ensuring that the entire world had no idea what was happening between him and Epstein? And of course, the craziest thing of all of this is that this was apparently the red line for Trump. The fact that Epstein poached his underage employees.
That's such old history.
very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did.
The thing that Jeffrey Epstein did that was inappropriate was that he hired help that he took from Trump. That is the inappropriate thing in Trump's case. Ah, yes, the big elephant in the room when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. The world's worst kept secret. The guy was a help stealer. When he arrives at the gates of hell, Satan will condemn his indefensible acts of hiring people who had employment elsewhere. Got it. Like, I'm sorry, but a normal human being would be able to acknowledge the depravity of Jeffrey Epstein and what he did to his victims. But Trump bristles at the thought of Epstein poaching his employee. No remorse for the victims, no mention of his disgusting behavior, just clearly very salty that Epstein committed the cardinal sin of wrongdoing him. Not the victims, but Donald J. Trump himself. That's the red line as far as he's concerned. Who gives a shit what happens to teenage girls? Just don't you dare mess with Mar-a-Lago's help. Help that he clearly takes great pride in, which is why he put that help in situations where they're exposed to famed pedophiles. You see? The audacity then of this guy, given what he knows and how he was involved, to then try and cast the blame on other people.
And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there. So
Now you got to listen to what he said. Like the video, like the video. Can I please get 50 people to hit the subscribe button? Can I please get 50 people to hit the subscribe button? And thank you.
But Donald J. Trump, this guy, given what he knows was involved, to then try and cast the blame on other people.
And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times.
Allegedly.
I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn
The privilege?
it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
This guy was employing minors, exposing them to pedophiles, and yet is out here blaming everyone else? 2 points here. If Bill Clinton or Larry Summers or even the Dalai Lama himself was participating in Epstein's actions, then they should be held accountable. I don't care if you are left, right, or center. I'm not here to defend the actions of anyone, no matter how much their political views align with mine. I wish any prominent Republican had the spine to say the same thing. But second, how does Trump even know that Bill Clinton was on Epstein's island 28 times or that Larry Summers was there 7 times?
Facts.
Because that kind of information would probably be found in the Epstein files, and when Trump was asked point blank if he was briefed on those files, he said this.
No, I was never briefed.
And then when journalists recognized that his story was falling apart, he went on and said this.
You have said that you've not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. Does the AG have to tell you if your name?
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this: those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey, they were run by Garland, they were run by Biden, and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years. People, if they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony.
I wasn't briefed. It was a hoax. It was forged. I didn't do it. Obama did it. Biden did it. The Washington Commanders should change their name to the Washingtons, denaturalize Rosie O'Donnell, put cane sugar in Coca-Cola, arrest Kamala.
The question is he okay? Real talk. Is he okay? Like the video. Please let me get 50 people to please subscribe. There's about 131 in the building. If you already subscribed, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. Continue to hit the like button, you guys, and thank you. Double tap the screen and thank you. Let's get the likes to 100. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
And Oprah and Beyonce and Al Sharpton, are you starting to recognize why Trump is so hell-bent on distracting everyone? You starting to recognize why he is panicking? You starting to recognize why he sprinted off to Europe in the middle of a 3-week scandal about Jeffrey Epstein and got mad at anyone who dared ask him about it?
Our country was dead. We had a dead country because of an incompetent president and incompetent Democrats. All they know how to do is talk and think about conspiracy theories and nonsense. If they'd waste their time talking about America being great again, it would be so much nicer, so much easier.
Right. Conspiracy theories and nonsense. Except how we found out today that it's not so much conspiracy theory or nonsense, it's more that Donald Trump hired underage girls, exposed these girls to a notorious pedophile who then trafficked and abused those girls.
Allegedly.
Together all of the links that might explain why Trump is so afraid of releasing the Epstein files. Trump may have thought that he could run away from his problems, but in fact, his problems seem to have gotten a lot worse and will continue to worsen the longer he obfuscates the facts and draws this scandal out.
Like the video, like the video. What do y'all think about that? Because he's the one that's mentioning what he's mentioning. Like the video as you guys come in. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Turnberry, the president, again called the Epstein case a hoax, blamed the Democrats, and added that he never visited Epstein's Caribbean island.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate.
Listen.
He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island. It's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey, they were run by Garland, they were run by Biden, and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax.
Kind of just Mad Libs there. Autopen, hoax, scum. The president also reiterated he has the ability to pardon convicted Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell if he wants to. Meanwhile, the Trump administration seems to believe the president's phased on from the Epstein files. It has not. But podcaster Joe Rogan disagrees, calling out the administration for gaslighting its supporters. Here's what some of Rogan said on Friday.
Look, we still have ADHD, right, collectively as a nation, right? I mean, things move on, and I think maybe that's what they're, some people are saying, look, they've called the recess on Capitol Hill because they figure by the time they come back in September, everybody will have moved on from this, right? I think they're wrong. I don't think this feels like and just looks like that one of those handful of conspiracies, again, you go to JFK or whomever, that's just going to hang around.
This is a line in the sand. Yeah. This one's a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Because this is one where there's a lot of stuff about, we thought Trump was going to come in, and a lot of things are going to be resolved.
Yeah.
We're going to drain the swamp, going to figure everything out. And when you have this one hardcore line in the sand that everybody's been talking about forever, and then they're trying to gaslight you on that.
So Joe Rogan talking there to a...
Well, hello, Paris. How are you? Everyone say hello to Paris. She's my one and only mod. Good morning, dear. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hello to Paris. Thanks for being here, everyone. Believe it or not, hey, I gotta go. This has been a busy week, blessed week, but I wanted to update you guys on what was going on with Trump. Man, everything moved and shifted. I wanted to update you guys on what was going on with Trump, what was said. He basically saying he took her, and then he said, yeah, I think she worked for us. So everybody's saying, is he okay? Is he okay? People are not going to let it go. So he's got to figure out something. He's got to figure out something. Okay, you guys, I have a busy morning planned. I did come live. I went live yesterday twice. I got booted out, then I came back, then I had to leave again. So busy week, blessed week, but I'm a busy woman. So if I can please get, there's about 100 people in the building. If I can please get 100 people to please subscribe, we're trying to hit 50K by next month. So I think about 80 people have subscribed this morning. About 65 have subscribed this morning. So I thank everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. See, Paris, I wanted to go back and forth with you, but I'm getting the look that I have to go. If I can go live later on today, well, let's see, 1, 2, or 3. I'm not certain though. So I did want to do this live. If I get any more updates, I'll update. But the biggest thing is him stating that he felt that this young lady might have worked for him. And if she worked for him, allegedly, she might have been alleged very young. Yes, you guys. Fair use. So copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used, permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. We got to do better with the likes. This video is probably going to get about 5,000 views, and we got 39 likes. We got to do better, guys. So if I have to halt the show, I say it all the time. But there's goals, and I got to stay within this algorithm. So everyone have a great day. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that are loving, kind, and respectful. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate you, Paris. Have a great day. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in the morning, 9, 10, or 11. No, 10 or 11 tomorrow. All right, you guys, have a blessed day. Goodbye.